Oh, it is. It is a Monday episode. Happy Monday from me, Alex Donno, on Donno Daily on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. Thank you guys so much for taking time out of your afternoons to watch this. Second round of the playoffs, guys. We're just a few hours away. This last week, since the Heat completed their gentleman's sweep against the Atlanta Hawks, waiting from Tuesday night to Monday night for another Miami Heat basketball game, it's felt like slow torture. Like it's been not even a full week. It's felt like a month, guys. So we finally have it tonight. Miami Heat will play game 1, FTX Arena, against the Philadelphia 76ers this evening. As you see reflected by the odds, the Joel Embiid injury, it's going to be a big impact on the way the odds makers see these series. He's got the cracked orbital, the mild concussion. He also had the finger issue that is going to require surgery after the playoffs that he had prior to the issues with his face right now. So that's going to give Miami, on paper, a big edge to start out this series. There's some talk that Embiid may be ready to come back as early as game 3. I don't think there's any way, barring some kind of a miracle, that he would come back before game 3, which is when the series shifts back to Philadelphia. So that gives a huge edge to Miami. Now, Miami, for the first game or two of this series, as they were for the final 2 games of the previous series, will be without Kyle Lowry. But as we've come to see with the way the Heat were able to close out that series, if you're telling me Lowry is out for Miami, Embiid is out for Philly, as a Heat fan, you take that trade-off. Miami can survive, maybe even thrive for a couple games' time without Kyle Lowry. He's going to be needed between now and the end of the playoff run, but Miami can survive a couple of games without him. Gabe Vincent has been up to the task. Victor Oladipo in the rotation. Oh, my goodness. He has been very, very up to the task. So you look at the series odds here. Heat are minus 350 favorites to come away victors in this series, which means if you bet $350 on Miami, that would only give you a $100 return if they win the series. Philadelphia are the plus 270 underdogs. I was looking at something that was pretty interesting, and thanks to the folks at Hot Hoops for putting up some of these numbers. I don't read a whole lot into this because some of the odds for the length of series are pretty damn close. But according to the odds, they feel that the series is going to end up going 7 because it's plus 220 for a full 7-game series. You do have the 7th game, of course, at home. The Heat are the number 1 seeds in the East. The second lowest odds would be 5-game series at plus 235. I think it's going to be a 5 or a 6-game series in Miami's favor. Now, you look at the betting lines for this evening. Guys, I understand Joel Embiid out tonight, so they're really going to count on Philly, going to count on James Harden stepping up. He's been more of a distributor than a scorer there lately. Tyrese Maxey, a very nice player. Harris, Maxey, and Harden will be expected to carry the load for Philadelphia. That very much changes the way they're going to attack Miami offensively. But the Heat, they're 7.5-point favorites tonight. Wow. Now, I know some of our viewers, in fact, most of our viewers, I think, have started taking to this. You guys refer to me as the mush. So maybe you'll be happy to hear me announce. I don't think I'm going to be taking the Heat minus 7.5. I think I might just kick my feet up and enjoy the game. Like, honestly, I think I just may go wager free on this one. I didn't really mush the Heat in the previous series because I had Miami, and Brooklyn Rob saw it with his own eyes. I may have mushed his quarter deck gift card, but when we were out there for the game 4 watch party, Heat versus Hawks, and I had the Heat minus 1.5 for that game, they covered comfortably. They won in a blowout fashion in that game. So I have not been mushing the Heat, but at the same time, 7.5 against a good opponent like Philadelphia. Now, Miami's more rested than they are, and Joel Embiid's not playing, which is a big, big loss for them. But I don't know. I don't know if I feel confident enough in the Heat covering a 7.5-point spread that I'm actually going to put money on it. I think I might. I'm not enough of a degenerate that I can enjoy a game without having any action on it, especially if it's a team that I root for. I could still enjoy the game even if I didn't bet on it. A little bit harder when it's somebody else. Like I had the Celtics yesterday. Woof. That was not a very good bet. Jack Dennis writes in, Heat in 3. Now he's confident. You talk about confidence. But yeah, I agree with Big Dan. 7.5 points is a lot. Like, honestly, I'm more likely, even with the odds being pretty big, I'm more likely to place a bet on the Heat as series winners than I would be on a 7.5 point spread tonight. Uh, I like that best jersey in honor of the playoffs starting. Well, what jersey do you like? The O'Neal, the Shaquille O'Neal jersey? David writes in, poor gift card, had hopes and dreams. I mushed it. Heat jersey. I was like, what was it? The best jersey? The Heat jersey. He likes it. Hey, listen. And the only it's sad, but the only Heat jersey I own, at least the only one I could locate to put on the backdrop there, is my circa 2004 Shaquille O'Neal jersey. Somewhere I have a vintage like 1997 Alonzo Mourning jersey that was like a size, medium that I was in like 7th or 8th grade when I bought that jersey. I've got that somewhere, but the only one that I've been I'm a big fan of centers, as you guys could see. But the only Heat jersey I could locate to hang behind me is the Shaquille O'Neal Heat jersey. So yeah, hopefully, and we're going to have Brady Hawk is going to be in, by the way, the boy wonder of the 5 Reasons Sports Network. Brady Hawk is going to join us around 2:15. Good news for those of us out there who are superstitious. Brady will be in the arena covering the game tonight. That usually means Heat dubs. Unlike Ethan Skolnick, who's terrible luck. Unlike me, who's terrible luck. Brady Hawk tends to be good luck. So the boy wonder is going to be at the arena tonight. I'm not going to say rooting on the Heat because he's very professional. He's going to be sitting in the press box. I know deep down inside that gigantic brain of his and that heart of his, he's going to be rooting for Miami, but he's not going to be outwardly rooting for Miami tonight. Let's see. Daniel Layton writes in, will the Heat lose in 4 or in 5 games to the Philadelphia 76ers? We need to know for betting purposes. Is this another one of these Philly troll spammers? We had some dude in here last week, I think on Friday's episode. Somebody from Philly was just in here giving us hell. It wasn't the same person. That name is definitely different. Oh, he says, just kidding, by the way. I mean, I got to tell you, guys, knowing that there's a chance Joel Embiid could be back game 3, and you've got the first 2 games at home, and you should be able to. And I agreed with one of Brady Hawk's pregame pieces that he put out there on 5reasonsports.com. Without the Embiid dynamic early in the series, you should be able to swarm the perimeter defensively, kind of like you did against Atlanta. You're going to have more than one guy to focus on, right? Because it's not like you can just key in on Trae Young, and that's the only one who can really beat you. Like you're going to have to pay a ton of attention to Harden. You got to hope Harden's just not getting to the free throw line 1,000 times like the old days, and Maxey. Like you're going to have to try and mark these guys out of the game. But this is a task we know. Miami's perimeter defense, it's chef's kiss. Like it's so amazing to watch Miami's perimeter D. So if the Heat don't come out of this first 2 games with a 2-0 series lead before we see Embiid at any point, I'm going to be disappointed, and I'm going to be a little bit worried about how the dynamic of the series can shift in Philadelphia. So the job here is take advantage of the absence of Embiid, win these first 2 games like you're supposed to. You're almost an 8-point favorite tonight. If you win tonight, you're probably going to be close to that, close to a double-digit favorite in game 2. Take care of business in these first 2 games, and then let Philadelphia play catch-up. Because you got to think about it this way. If Philly gets Embiid back game 3 or maybe game 4, and the Heat have a 2-0 series lead, they're going to need to win 4 out of 5 games against Miami. I don't see how they are doing that. I don't see it. Oh, Jack. What an amazing act of philanthropy he's offering here. He says, I will donate my Ronnie Cycli jersey to the show. If you could do that, drop me an email. I guess I'll give you my email address. I mean, what do I care if somebody knows my email address? Actually, I don't know if I should. Spammers, because there's enough Russian spam. Just leave a comment. Do me a favor, Jack. I know you're in the live chat right now. If you're serious about donating the Ronnie Cycli jersey, if you're not, it's fine. If you're just making a joke to liven up the comment section, that's cool too. But if you're serious about it, leave me a comment on the video after the video is over so I can go back and circle back and contact you afterwards. Because Ronnie Cycli was one of my favorites. I mean, I can remember going to games with my dad. We'd go to a couple games a year at the old Miami Arena, and I loved Ronnie Cycli because I was fascinated with big men. And he's now a successful DJ back in Greece, so he's doing well for himself. Oh yeah, you can always DM me on Twitter. I do keep. I just know. I'm not sure if Daniel is on Twitter or follows me. If you follow me on Twitter, you can drop me a DM on Twitter because I leave the DMs open. So we will do that. And wow, how about this? He says I will donate my liver and kidney to the show. If I'm in the market for either of those, I used to be a heavy drinker. So if I'm ever in the market for a liver, we'll get our blood tested to see if we're a match. And I will keep you in consideration, man. I will keep you in consideration. Luke says Heat fans care more about whining than they do about being right. At least we should. Oh, winning. You know what? I got an issue, guys. This looks so. I got a lot of issues this week. And by the way, let me throw this out there. Those who follow me on Twitter may have seen this. If you believe in prayer or even in sending positive vibes, please send prayers, vibes to my family because my mother is going to be having surgery today. The surgery was actually supposed to start about 2 hours ago, but they're on Miami time apparently. It keeps getting pushed back. I think around 2:30 today. She will be going under the knife. So if you can send prayers, it's obviously something, I'm, there's nothing I can do. So I'm doing my shows today and everything, but I'm a little bit distracted because I got this going on. And if you guys can send some prayers, that would be appreciated. I would thank you so much for that. And even like technically, this is a weird week. So my main laptop is in the shop, had a little battery issue, and it's going to be in the hands of the geniuses at the Genius Bar for a couple days. So I'm on like a Cold War era MacBook, like the first Cold War, like circa 8, not the one that's going on now, the old Cold War from like back in the like I'm on like an old ass borrowed MacBook. So I feel like this thing could explode at any moment. And also the type is very small. So when I'm trying to read people's messages, like I need like bifocals, Ben Franklin style, or like a telescope to read these. Heat fans care about winning more than they do about being right. At least we should. Rose, it's the same. That's my mantra as a sports fan, period. Right? When I, at times on this show, I have questioned and even trolled Duncan Robinson. Okay. When he had that 27-point game one against Atlanta, for as much as I've trolled the guy and doubted the guy and referred to him as a $90 million bricklayer and made fun of the contract and everything, I was ecstatic to see him playing well, draining 8 of 9 threes and helping the Heat win a playoff game. I would love for him to do that a lot more before these playoffs are over. I would much rather win than be right. If I doubt a player, but it's a player on a team that I root for, like Tua with the Miami Dolphins, same sort of thing. If ever I doubt Tua and I speak about Tua, like I'm not convinced that he's the second coming and that he's, anywhere near as good as the other quarterbacks that were drafted the first round in 2020, that I'd rather have Herbert or I'd rather have Burrow, doesn't mean I'm not rooting for the guy. Because like Daniel said, or Luke said, I would rather win than be right. And when you're in the business of analyzing and making predictions and you put things on the record like I do every single day, sometimes you're going to be wrong. Sometimes you're going to be catastrophically wrong. And I will take it as long as it translates into W for my team. Big Dan 305 says, just win. That is all. Absolutely. And thank you, everyone, for the kind words, by the way, in the chat. Thank you guys so much. It's like, I think she's going to be all right. It's a serious illness, but they caught it very, very early. So the doctors are very optimistic, and it's just something, man. You have to deal with stuff throughout life. And I know probably everyone watching this has had family members that have been ill, gone under the knife, been affected by cancer and various things. It's very, very tough, man. And I think the most important thing we can all do is all be positive and loving and caring. And that's all I can do now, man. Let's see. Comments. Dougie Fresh says, I send prayers to you. I'll also send you my old Chromebook for my teaching. Oh man, the folder that reads string theory calculations is actually porn. Thing is, I'm such a geek when it comes to time travel stuff. I would have clicked on that and I would have been disappointed that it was porn and not string theory. I would have been like, oh man, this is cool. Doug sent me a Chromebook that's loaded with string theory and physics. I got to see what this is about. Oh, it's porn. That's too bad. I would have been disappointed. Would have been very disappointed. Brooklyn Rob says, sometimes you're going to be a mush and other times you are still going to be a mush. That is true. That is true. VLKV says, I love being proven wrong when I'm expressing frustration about my teams. Psychologically, there's something to that because if you're the type of fan who's super bullish and optimistic every year, like, oh yeah, Dolphins are going to go 14-2 Super Bowl, and then they go 9-7 or 9-8. The whole 17 game thing confuses the fuck out of me. But like whenever you have really high expectations and they fall short of it every year, you're just disappointed all the time. Whereas if your expectations are like, I think we might be all right this year. Like my expectations, guys, let's be real here. For the most part, the Miami Heat have already exceeded a lot of my expectations. Now, my expectation did come with a deep playoff run, so they're not quite there yet. But never in my wildest dreams to start the season did I think they'd be a number one seed in the Eastern Conference. I didn't even entertain that possibility. Never did I think so many of these great stories, the former G Leaguers and two-way guys, would step up when so many players were injured. Like the Heat have already, there's still work to do. Like we're just embarking on a second round series that's not going to be a walk in the park, even without Joel Embiid early on. But the Heat have already exceeded so many of my expectations. I like to keep the expectations somewhere in the middle. So if a team does really well, I'm on cloud nine. And I'm on cloud nine knowing, and I already announced this to the people out there, Brady Hawk is with us from the 5 Reasons Sports Network. He will be in attendance tonight, game one against Heat and Sixers. And Brady, I don't know if you keep a running tab on your record, but I know the Heat are a lot better when you're in the arena than when you're.
Yeah, I don't know the exact number, to be honest with you. I somebody has to have that calculation of some kind, but no, I don't know the exact number. I think it might be like 3 losses in terms of all season and a good amount of games.
That's not. Yeah, you've probably been to like 20 games, haven't you?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, something around there. Probably a little bit more. So it wasn't too bad, but.
Wow, that is something. Brady, of course, has been working feverishly on 5reasonsports.com. I enjoyed some of your preview material. Let's start with the notable absences, Brady, from both sides. I mean, obviously, any Heat fan would take the trade-off of, okay, we're going to be without Kyle Lowry for a little bit longer, but Philly is going to be without Joel Embiid for at least a couple of games. That trade-off definitely favors Miami. So let's start with Joel Embiid's absence. How does that just change the style of play we expect without him on the floor?
Yeah, it changes a lot. For one, they're probably going to put DeAndre Jordan in for him, and it's not the same DeAndre Jordan that you've seen in the past. Is a guy that is kind of they're going to still play that deep drop coverage, so nothing really turns in terms of coverages when you're plugging in a guy like DeAndre Jordan, but it's just a lot easier to attack. Joel Embiid's shown to be a pretty good defender, obviously, and there's going to be opportunities on the perimeter when you're running those handoffs, attacking pick and rolls against them, that they're basically after Jordan, they're forced to completely go small, that there's no other option on this roster. They're going to go to Paul Reed. They're going to go to Paul Millsap maybe at the 5. They're going to go they basically said Tobias Harris could potentially play the 5, but there's so many of these other options that they're going to have to go small. So I think the one major thing it changes for Miami is that possibly no Dwayne Dedmon, because for one, you can get him a couple extra days off isn't the worst thing for him. But this is a team that's built for going small. We know across this roster that if they're plugging Gabe Vincent in for Lowry, you have a bench of Tyler Hero, Victor Oladipo, Caleb Martin, Duncan Robinson. That's probably your 4 guys off the bench. 4 pretty talented, not big type players that you can roll out. So I think it favors them in that way that they can go small. And it's going to be interesting to see that when this team does go small, they're still not a switchy team because they don't have the athletes on that type of front court. So it's going to be a lot easier, obviously. And when you don't have Embiid, you don't have that inside threat. Like we talked about Trae Young being a complete perimeter threat before the series and before we found out about the Embiid news. It was going to be the complete opposite. That after you blitzed out and you're playing a guy at half court, you're going to have to pack it in a little bit more because you're playing Joel Embiid. Now it kind of transcends back to the Trae Young theory in a lot of ways.
I like that a lot. By the way, before we go any further, I want to remind everybody out there. I make sure to bring this up when Brady is on because people smash the like button for Brady. They don't do it for me, but do it for Brady Hawk. If you guys are enjoying the content, it really helps. Not only does it help this show, but it helps this entire YouTube channel. Smash the like button, hit the thumbs up button, and make sure you subscribe to 5 Reasons Sports on YouTube if you haven't already. And make sure you check out Brady's work at 5reasonsports.com. So let's talk about the Heat absence. So Kyle Lowry missed the last couple of games of the Hawks series. That's going to bleed here into the Sixers series. So how does Lowry's absence maybe change the way they would approach the Sixers? And then part 2 would be any idea when he could come back?
Yeah, luckily not much has to change. Like they just have the next guy step up and they play a similar role. I'd say the one thing that you're maybe not going to look at and see as much without Lowry is for one, you're not going to see the pace. You're going to see a much more slowed down pace in this type of series, probably on both ends. But more specifically, I think it impacts Bam a little bit just because it doesn't have a guy that's going to say, okay, you're going to have a small on you basically the majority of the series before Embiid returns. I'm going to give you the ball and I'm going to get away. That's what Kyle Lowry's best at. Then maybe you don't see that as much. But other than that, you're still going to have a guy that can get the ball to the guys in their spots, a guy that can space out and Gabe Vincent. If they don't want to go there and they bring in Victor Oladipo, you still have a type of guy that can get to the rim, put pressure on the rim, kick out, play make. That they have these options all the way down the line. When you look at Embiid going out and you look down the line on Philly, they don't have anybody that can even almost replicate what Joel Embiid does. And that speaks to him being an MVP candidate. But Kyle Lowry being out, they have guys that can somewhat replicate him. I think that Ethan's made the point that maybe they ride out this Kyle Lowry injury until they lose, which I could see partially that maybe I don't think he plays at home. I think maybe you look at Philly. If they're up 2-0, I don't know if he's pushing to play game 3. If it's 1-1, I probably would expect him to play game 3. But other than that, I think this is a series until Embiid comes back that they can survive without Kyle Lowry with the other guys in this roster.
Now, Tyler Hero wasn't great last series. You mentioned in your preview piece that it wasn't really a series against the Hawks that called for Lowry. Do you think this one, or sorry, a Hero that didn't call for Hero, do you think this one is going to be a Tyler Hero series?
Definitely. When I look at this on paper, when I think about past matchups, this heavily favors him. Like last series did not, and I think people were focused on him not playing well, but the thing was him and Bam weren't really looked to play well in that series. When you entered that Atlanta Hawks series, we said, it's going to be Jimmy Butler attacking mismatches, getting to the rim because nobody can guard him on that team. And it's going to be shooters just basically abusing the Atlanta defense because they can't rotate good enough. Both of those things happened, and that's why they won the series in 5. Now you're looking at a drop killer in Tyler Hero, a boost specifically without Kyle Lowry. When DeAndre Jordan's on the floor, I think you're going to want Tyler Hero on the floor. They're going to probably try to mirror that as much as possible because if there's anything we know about Tyler, yes, he could score at all 3 levels. But once he gets to that second level and he gets to that mid-range pull-up and that starts going, it's really hard to recover and guard Tyler Hero because then he can back you out and he's going those sidestep, deep threes. Then he's getting to the rim and finishing because he's hesitating in the mid-range. That's kind of the settling point. So I do think this is a series for him. I think Victor Oladipo kind of fits that mold because he's a similar type of threat in the pick and roll that he could kind of dissect, drop. But it also comes back to the thing before where I say if they go small, maybe you don't see as much drop where – then he still has to dissect stuff as well. But I'm not saying that Tyler Hero can only score against drop coverage. When he has those smalls, you're going to see him start to get to that first level and get to the rim a little bit more. That I think a lot of people are focused on the defensive side of the ball because the last thing we have in our minds against Philly was that Tyrese Maxey went crazy in the fourth quarter, was attacking Tyler Hero, and they ended up winning that game. Now they have an option. If that starts to happen, they have a card to play, and that's Victor Oladipo to say, okay, you're not going to find a mismatch on the floor. But I still think if or when Miami wins this series, I think it's going to be because of Tyler Hero just giving a boost offensively.
Now, this guy can still be valuable, even though historically he's been mud in the biggest spots in the playoffs. But James Harden, like he's not looked like the same guy this year, Brady. But how much should we fear Harden heading into this series?
Yeah, I don't know if there's much of fear. Like I think you fear Joel Embiid. I think there's a worry about James Harden. The reason I say like there's a part of this where you say, okay, you can treat them like the Trae Young series where you're blitzing out guards and you're kind of making them make extra passes. But this isn't Trae Young. Like, and for one, they have two guys that you have to kind of pick your poison with. James Harden, I think what they're going to do is say, if you want to beat us, score the basketball and then we'll make our adjustment. They're not going to throw the kitchen sink at him early and as if he's this Houston scorer. The things he's been dynamic about with Philly is he could still get to the rim at a decent level and guys are dropping down and he's kicking out and then their shooters get going. The Danny Greens, the Tobias Harris has been good off the catch from deep. If that's when Philly kind of looks at their best when you're looking at lineups without Joel Embiid. I think they could throw more of the kitchen sink at Tyrese Maxey. You're going to want multiple bodies on him because he's one of those guys that's lightning in a bottle that can all of a sudden just go off and give them a huge boost. Type of guys that have killed Miami, basically. Like we've seen those type of players. But in terms of James Harden, until he shows that he's going to be his step back threat, getting to the rim, just scoring at all levels, I don't think they're totally going to fear him. I think that's more of a game 3, they're telling Doc Rivers down 2-0 is telling James Harden, you need to score the basketball for us to win. And then it's Miami adjusting. But other than that, early on, I think it's going to be kind of in a different way.
Well, let's talk about Tyrese Maxey as well. As Spectre 707 brings up, hey, is everyone forgetting Maxey? That is who the Heat should focus on instead of Harden with Embiid out. I had to start with Harden first because he's the sexier name. But yeah, obviously Maxey could be a series changer.
Yeah. That's what I was just saying, like about the lightning in a bottle. Like he's the type of guy, if you look at they might have to face a guy in Jordan Poole if they were able to get to the finals who's looking really good as well. But they're all the same type of mold of players that could just really hit you from so many different areas, these young scorers. And Maxey's been that. Like we saw in that first round series against Toronto. I forgot what game it was, but he just started going crazy and you can't really slow him down. I just don't think Miami wants to get to that point. They want to bother him in many ways. And like I said, just make James Harden beat you. Like it's the playoffs. People say he doesn't perform at this level. I don't think they're overly worrying about it. And when you look at matchups, they have a ton of bodies to throw at these guys. Like this is a team we're talking about going small if they don't have Dedmon. They have a Jimmy Butler to throw at them. They have a Bam Adebayo that's going to primarily be probably on James Harden when he switches out because what they're going to do is put PJ on him. They're going to do that little switch thing. They have Caleb Martin who could guard him. They have Gabe Vincent that's going to be out there probably seeing the Tyrese Maxey matchup early. So they have so many different avenues they can go that kind of transcends scheme in a lot of ways. When you just have complete talent all the way down the roster defensively, that can kind of solely slow these guys down.
So the odds are very much in the Heat's favor heading into this one, and I'm sure I didn't see what they were before the Embiid stuff came out, but obviously that definitely affects it with him missing at least the first 2 games. But it's the Heat about minus 350 to win the series, minus 345 for tonight's game 1. They're 7.5-point favorites for tonight's game 1. That's like Admiral Akbar in Star Wars. It's a trap. Like I don't feel like I'm going to be putting down money. I'm just going to enjoy the game, Brady, because I think the Heat will win. I think 7.5 is a lot. So let's start before I get your projection on the series. What do you think about tonight's game?
In all honesty, if I was, I might even take that because I think this is a double-digit win for Miami. Like I really do. I think they can actually.
I'm back on the horse, guys. Just so you guys know, I'm going Heat minus 7.5 now. I have the blessing of Brady Hawk.
I will not be taking any Heat if that does not go. If that goes in the other direction, I've had that happen in the past.
They'll blame me, believe me.
But I just think this is setting up where, yes, Miami's good at the adjustments, and they're always better later in the series after game 1. But I just feel like this is a game where Miami comes out hot. I think Tyler Hero, after having a poor, I won't say poor, but just not as great as he wanted to in the first round series. I think he's going to come out and play well. I think they have enough guys on this roster that can get hot. They have extra perimeter guys. And like I keep saying, this could be potentially a perimeter series. This is a team schematically that pulls down on drivers, that this could be a lot of driving kick from Jimmy. I don't know what the numbers say on that type of betting, but maybe over on Jimmy Butler assists because they're going to use that a lot, especially with Kyle Lowry out. So I actually like that. I think Miami ends up handling this. I think if there's a Tyrese Maxey game, I think it's probably maybe game 2, game 3 area. I think this is a game where they kind of slow him down early. And I think Miami controls this one all the way.
What about for the series? Because actually, and there's not a huge strong lean on this with the odds, but the slight, like the slight favorite in the odds would be for a 7-game series, and then a 5-game series is the next biggest odds. How long do you think this is going to go, and is Miami going to take it?
Yeah, I originally said Heat in 6 before I knew the Embiid news, and I'm bumping that down to Heat in 5 now that I heard the Embiid stuff. I think Miami controls this one early at home. I think they go up 2-0. And the question is, okay, let's say Joel Embiid comes back for game 3. There's a mental error there where you say you have to win the next 4 out of 5 games. Like, that's just not an
Yeah.
easy thing to do, especially Joel Embiid. We could say, okay, he's going to push back and he's going to return for game 3. He's not going to be right. He already has a messed up finger that's already limiting him inside and other areas of his game. Uh, then you have the orbital fracture. He's wearing the mask. That could throw some things off. He has to clear concussion protocol. There's just so many variables here to push back that it's going to be hard to return for game 3 even. And if he does, I just can't see it being at MVP Joel Embiid level. So I think they still get a game. I think Joel Embiid comes back around then. Maybe they steal game 4 or something like that. And I think Miami ends up closing it out in 5.
I love it. Well, good luck in the arena. Will Ethan also be there to cancel out your good luck?
Yes, he will.
All right, so the Heat are going to have to do this on their own because I guess Brady's good luck will be canceled by Ethan Skolnick. So we just got to hope for the best.
I countered it in 3 out of the 3 home games in the first round, so it could be all right. He's seen 3 home wins in the playoffs so far in the first round, so maybe it's going away. I don't know.
Hey, before we let you run, of course, you're always a very, very busy man at 5reasonsports.com. The game previews, the 5 takeaways, anything else our viewers should look out for this week? Any other appearances you're doing, 5 on the floor, anything else we should look out for?
Yeah, 5 on the floor. Also off the floor is a text chain to kind of me, Ethan, Alex, and Greg giving updates and stuff on the game. That's on all of our Twitters and at Brady Hawk 305 on Twitter.
I love it. Well, keep up the good work, man. And we will catch up with you next week. Or, hey, if things get really crazy in the series, I may try to bug you later this week. We'll see how it goes.
Got you. Thank you for having me on.
I love it. What a pro. Brady Hawk. Make sure you check it and follow his Twitter, by the way, at Brady Hawk 305. Excellent follow, giving you news before, during, and after Heat games. You guys know. Yeah, the Heat are different in the playoffs. I agree. It's a team built for the playoffs. Absolutely. And the crazy thing is, this team was built for the postseason, and they still somehow got the number 1 seed in the East, which I was not expecting. You know what I am expecting? I am expecting to have a good wagering night this evening after that advice that Brady Hawk just gave me at betus.com. Friends, betus.com. That is the official sports book of Donno Daily. It's a full-service online sports book, fully available in Florida. What are you waiting for? You want to bet the series, Heat versus Sixers. You want to bet the game tonight. Heat are 7.5-point favorites, minus 345 on the money line. If you don't mind, putting up some extra money just to get a win. If you think it's going to be a close game tonight, you got props, parlays, live betting on all of it. Live betting on everything, guys. You can bet during the games just like you can before the games at betus.com. Hockey playoffs. Guys, we will devote some time. I'm so sorry, Brooklyn Rob and David, who are afraid that I'm going to mush the Panthers. We're going to talk a little Panthers tomorrow. Panthers take on the Capitals tomorrow night. We are going to talk a little bit about it on tomorrow's episode. I apologize in advance. And the reason, for those who don't know the inside joke, the reason I say that is that the people in the chat think I'm bad luck. And if I hype up the Panthers too much, they're going to lose. But I love the Panthers. And if you want to bet hockey playoffs, basketball playoffs, international soccer, it's not too early to lock in college football futures. Tyler Van Dyke, 33-1 to win the Heisman next year. BetUS.com. Make this your spot. Guys, BetUS.com. They are taking your wagers today. Sign up with our code. We give you the best bonus in the gambling industry. When you sign up at BetUS.com with our code 5RSN125, that's 5RSN125, they're going to give you a 125% sign-up bonus. If you deposit $100, they're going to give you $125 in free play money on top of your deposit. It is so great, my friends. Bet sports, play in their online casino. I played a lot of blackjack in there last week. You can play blackjack and win real money in the BetUS.com casino. You can bet on the horses, pop culture props, and so much more. Sign up today at BetUS.com with our code 5RSN125 for for a 125% sign-up bonus. You bet, you win, you get paid. BetUS.com. Hopefully, I think later on this series, when the Heat hit the road again, we're going to have another Quarter Deck watch party. We had a great time out there 8 nights ago at the Quarter Deck Davy watching Heat Hawks game 4. That was a Heat victory. So we're going to see some more Heat victories out there. And guys, if you haven't been to the Quarter Deck Seafood Bar and Neighborhood Grill lately, check out the Quarter Deck tonight. Grab dinner out there. Go out there this weekend. You can watch all the games out there. They've got the flat screen, high def TVs. You got UFC pay-per-view this coming weekend. They have every UFC pay-per-view at the Quarter Deck for zero cover charge. You pay nothing at the door. The food is delicious. I love to build my own poke bowl. The seafood is so good. The fresh mahi grilled to perfection is awesome. The burgers and sandwiches are great, guys. The baby back ribs are so good. The salads and pasta dishes are awesome. And yeah, the Quarter Deck is a great place to wet your whistle. They've got 2-for-1 happy hour all day, every day. The happy hour literally never ends. So if you want to check out their website where you can find the location nearest to you, they're all over Broward County. I love the Dania Beach Pier location, the Davie location. We go out there frequently. Sawgrass, Fort Lauderdale Beach. You want to find the location nearest to you or check out their menu before you go. Visit them online at quarterdeckrestaurants.com. The Quarter Deck, come for the food, stay for the fun. Going to be having fun tonight. We're going to read some messages before we get out of here. There was one. Oh, I wanted to touch on this. So here we go. Shake Money, who I know follows me on Twitter, says, I see why Donno bets a lot. He's worth 11 million. He's part globalist. So have you ever, like, I've done this sometimes, like for show prep. You think about a celebrity like Dwayne Johnson, Elon Musk, Stephen Ross. You Google what is so-and-so's net worth. I usually trust the answers that come up in the Google search, right? It's like, oh, if they tell me Stephen Ross is worth 16 billion, whatever it is, that may be wrong, but whatever. Okay, yeah, so he's worth 16 billion, right? You usually trust the number that comes back. So somebody sent me a screenshot yesterday. I don't exactly know what motivated them to do this. They Googled, what is Alex Donno, me? What is my net worth? And a result came up. And they came up with $11 million. That's news to me. Dude, was I in somebody's will that I didn't? Did I have like a great aunt Birgit from Luxembourg that just passed away that I didn't know about, and now I'm worth $11 million? I got 2 nickels to rub together. I mean, I own a home, still have a mortgage to pay off, but equity. Like, I don't know, I may be worth like a couple $100,000 if you include assets, but ain't no way I'm worth $11 million. I'm sorry. So I don't know where that came from. So you can't, moral of the story is you can't trust Google. If you Google what is Alex Donno's net worth, they come up with 11 million. I got relatives hitting me up for money now because they saw my tweet about the 11. I don't have it. I don't know where it is, buddy. I don't know. I don't have like diamonds hidden under the mattress somewhere. I thought that was weird. So yeah, the next time I Google someone for their net worth, I'm not necessarily going to trust the result, because unless my wife is hiding some money from me that somehow Google knows about it and I don't think I'm worth 11 million. But if I was, I'd probably bet all of it on Heat and 5. I would. Oh, you got to get out there. The greater good. Been ages since I've been to the Quarter Deck. It's a great time to go back. The ambiance is great. Sit outside on the patio before it gets way too hot. Like we're early May now. Enjoy the patio before you get to like June and July and it's 800% humidity. But no, it's a really, really good spot. All right, I'm going to. Brooklyn Rob says, "What the hell? I'm making donations every week. This guy's worth 11 million." Maybe Google saw how many super chats Brooklyn Rob was making. They're like, this guy's probably worth 11 million by now. So thank you for the boost, Brooklyn Rob. That's crazy. Donno been holding out on us. Honestly, with inflation these days, how far does 11 million actually get you? Like, how many times can I fill my gas tank with $11 million? Like 8 times? 11 million doesn't get you as far as it used to. Like, how many gallons of milk can I buy with $11 million? 11? Like, it's not the same value of money. All right, we're going to throw some shout outs and then get out of here for today. Ian from Brooklyn. I love it. It's the Brooklyn connection. Brooklyn, Rob, Ian from Brooklyn. And yeah, it is great to see the greater good in here. I love all of you. Thank you so much, and thank you so much for the positive vibes. It's a suspenseful, tough week for my family, and I pray I pray everything goes all right with my mom's procedure today. I think it's probably starting right about now. It's supposed to start at around noon, but even the hospitals here run on Miami time, so everything was delayed a little bit. So I appreciate everyone's positive vibes and prayers. I do believe the prayer works, and thank you so much. And no matter what religion you are, even if you're not religious, I don't care. I appreciate the positive vibes and the prayers. Thank you, Tony, 2 times for getting in here. Classic deflection technique. We talking about Adebayo's blocks? I'm not sure. David writes in, that money is definitely blood money. It explains the mushing. It cursed Brooklyn Rob. I mean, I love it. Like, if I do own some crypto. I don't have 11 million worth. I think I've got like, 1% or 10% of. I'm not very good with my percentages. I definitely don't have 11 million worth. And Brooklyn Rob, thank you so much for getting in. A net worth of 11 million Nigerian dollars. Oh, you know what? When I replied to that email from the Nigerian prince who was offering me 11 million in exchange for my social security number and my firstborn child, I guess the money actually came through. Shake Money, how much of the 11 million will you bet? The way that I look at it, if 11 million stray US dollars just showed up in my bank account, I could probably look at it and say, okay, I can allocate 10 million of this into bets, because even if I lose all of them, I'm still a millionaire. So logic check out. And then the way that I'll frame it to my wife is, honey, $1 million just randomly showed up in my bank account. I won't mention the other 10 million, right? God, if she watches this, I'm toast though. Raymond Holbrook, thank you so much for tuning in. Miami Heat need to hit their threes. If Duncan or Matt, I think he means Max, have a subpar game, they will lose. That's just the reality. Great job, Brady. I agree. Thank you, Sheldon, for tuning in. Brady is the man, the myth, the legend. Global Zai, thank you. For people saying the Sixers beating the Heat, 1, it was at home and role played way better at home, and 2, it's the playoff. Yeah, I'm not honestly, and these teams split the regular season. They played 4 times. Each team won at home and won away. The regular season, I don't think means squat. Like, I can remember years ago, I think it was the year the Heat won their first championship. They had to beat the Brooklyn Nets in the playoffs, and they were like 0 for 4 against the Nets in the regular season. They beat them in 5 in the playoffs. Like, playoffs are a completely different animal. Like, I'm not saying it's impossible for the Sixers to win the series. I'm just saying, like, they beat the Heat one time shorthanded in the regular season. That doesn't mean much to me, man. It just really doesn't. Royce, thank you so much. And yeah, the game is 7:30 tonight, for those wondering. 7:30 p.m. start time, which probably means they'll be tipping off like 7:38, 7:40, something like that. Spectre, thank you so much. Thousand Eyes, thank you so much. Oh, he says he doesn't hit the like button for me or for Brady. Okay. I appreciate that you're participating in the live chat. That's good enough for me. I mean, I don't see why you wouldn't hit the like button. Like, it takes 1 second. Like, I know you're logged in. Like, you clearly have a Google account. You're chatting right now. Why not take 1 second and hit the thumbs up? You know you want to. You know it's tempting you. Shake Money. I think I may have already shouted out Shake Money. But yeah, I'm worth $11 million. I'm part of the problem. I'm part globalist, folks. I'm working for Soros. I'm working for Hillary. Yeah, that's how we do it here. The globalists, the elites. I am an elite, apparently. I'm worth $11 million that I did not know about. Luke Weber, thank you so much, and thank you for the prayers. And by the way, that is You are strong, sir. I had no idea this is something you went through. Luke says, prayers to you and your family. I survived cancer 3 times when I was a kid. He said, joy, hope, and family got me through. Praying that all goes well in the surgery. Yeah, we're praying. We're praying for my mother today. That everything goes well, man. It's hard to go through it. I try to be positive and loving. And just so you guys know, I don't want to go into too much detail on what she's going through because I want to respect her privacy. But the outlook from her doctors is very positive, like overwhelmingly positive. So I know she's going to fight, and I know she's going to get through it. Markins, thank you so much. Who is this? Oh, Brooklyn Rob, already shouted him out. VLKV, thank you so much for tuning in. Always nice to see you here. Ray Grullon. I love this guy. He's always so positive. Howdy, Donno. I'm back in town, ready for the Heat series. Go Heat. Heat tonight, Panthers tomorrow. This is a great, great week for South Florida sports. Doug E. Fresh, thank you so much. And thank you so much for the prayers and for the porn, even though I would prefer actual string theory. Let's see. I think I may have shouted out Big Dan already, but I love Big Dan. Big Dan is such a positive guy. Fernando, thank you so much for tuning in. PB Matthew, thank you. It's always nice seeing you in here. Daniel Layton, thank you so much for hopping in today. Tony, 2 times, thank you so much. IMAX, I appreciate you. Thank you for tuning in today. Jack Dennis, who's offering not only to donate his Ronnie Cycli jersey to the show, he also offered, in case I ever need it, to donate a kidney and a liver to the show. But you know what? It's nice to know I have options. So if I just really want to get tanked tonight, I'll know. Like, I'm not even worried about this liver because I have a backup. I've got Jax as a backup here. So it's good to know I have flexibility, liver flexibility. Oh, it's like Spoelstra. Spoelstra has all that perimeter flexibility. I've got liver flexibility. I will take it. Alchemist Star. It took me again, like this is a different Cold War era laptop I'm not used to using, and everything's smaller. So I've got to like lean my head way in there to read that. Yeah, Brady Hawk is the best. I swear Brady gives the best takes. He does. Brady is awesome. Who else? David Gillen. David Gillen or Guillen. I was almost going to call him Ray Grullon, similar last names. The gambling you speak of may have influenced the refs into calling games like Golden State versus Grizz. Did I ever? I think I may have told you guys about this once. I got and I did not take the person up on this because it seemed very shady. But I think that this might be a real thing because I talked to some friends who were into gambling and they said that they've been approached with stuff like this. Probably about a year ago, I received a very lengthy message. It was either a Twitter DM or an email. I can't remember, but it was from some bloke over in the UK who claimed they have an operation where they fix 3rd division English soccer matches, maybe even 4th division, like not Premier League, not league championship. I don't know what the 3rd tier is called in England, but like probably a tier below that, but like professional soccer matches that you're able to wager on. He claimed they had an operation where they're able to fix those matches. And then they tell the people who are in their like group that pay money for this. The whole thing may have been a scam. I don't know. What I didn't bite either way, but they claimed they had a ring where they had, the people who like were part of this service. They would tell you, this is the match we're fixing. This is the way you bet. We all win money together. I did not go in on it because, I mean, not only does it sound incredibly immoral and illegal, and the fact that this person was from another country, I didn't want to break international laws. Certainly not. And the whole thing may have been a scam anyway. But that was one of the most random, shadiest things I've ever been offered in the gambling space. So I don't know. I certainly, if there are NBA matches being fixed, it's certainly not because of me. So don't think I have that kind of power. Let's see who else. Oh, GA Kane fan, our guy Ray. Thank you so much for tuning in today. That might be it for the shout outs, unless always when I'm scrolling up through the previous shout outs, there's always new people who sneak in. Now, here's my guy. This guy was the MVP of the chat last week. Big Philly fan. He says Harden, Maxey on the way. Sixers, he says, will win. Fear the beard, Heat fan. So I knew he was going to turn up at some point. I say Heat in 5. He says Sixers probably in 4 or 5, but we will see. We will see who comes out on top. Jay Mill, I'm not sure if I shouted you out, but thank you so much for the well wishes. And yeah, thanks everybody. If I missed anybody in the chat, I apologize. I try to shout out everybody. So yeah, that'll do it for us. Make sure you support our sponsors. Also support our official daily fantasy sports provider, Prize Picks. We've been crushing it with Prize Picks, guys. Sign up, prizepicks.com or the Prize Picks mobile app. It's really easy to use. I love the mobile app. It's so easy to download, so easy to sign up. Use our code 5. Spell it out, FIVE. And they will match your first deposit 100% up to $100. I love Prize Picks, over-unders. Basically, it combines my love for parlays and for daily fantasy. You select 2, 3, or 4 players, and you can go cross-sport. If you want to go basketball playoffs and hockey playoffs in the same night, you can do 2 players from each, mix and match them however you want to. And if you get your over-under predictions correct, you can win up to 10 times your money. So Prize Picks is great, guys. PrizePicks.com or the Prize Picks mobile app. Use our code 5. That's FIVE. Prize Picks truly is daily fantasy simplified. Also, make sure you support our official sports bar of Donno Daily, the Quarterdeck Seafood Bar and Neighborhood Grill. Guys, this is a great spot to watch the playoffs. Great spot to wet your whistle with 2-for-1 happy hour all day, every day. Come for the food. Stay for the fun. And our official sports book, betus.com, full service sports book available in Florida. Use our code 5RSN125 for a 125% sign up bonus. Oh, Irvin also sneaks in here. Thank you so much. Heat in 5, he says. Available for overseas. I'm not sure if you're talking about BetUS. I think it depends on the country. You would probably have to try it. Like, and they'll tell you, by the way, like if you're in a country where it's not authorized, they're not just going to like take your money and say, oh, by the way, you can't bet. Like, it'll tell you this is not available in your location. So depending on what country you are in, Irvin, if you want to try BetUS, you should give it a shot. Prize Picks, same sort of thing. I think it's available in every U.S. state except for either New Jersey or Pennsylvania. So if you're in one of those, you want to double check. Overseas, I'm not sure, but neither site is just going to take your money if it's not available. So if you want to try to sign up at prizepicks.com or at betus.com, and maybe you should look into a VPN if you're worried about location. But if you are in a location where it's not available, they will tell you there before you're able to make a deposit. So good luck. All right, my friends, that'll do it for us. We will talk to you again tomorrow, and we will talk about whatever happens in the Heat game tonight, and we'll talk a little bit about what's going to happen in the Panthers-Capitals game tomorrow. So it's going to be a big episode. 24 hours from 1 hour ago, 23 hours from now, we will talk to you again on another episode of Donno Daily on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. See ya.